Hello friends, welcome to the Legion Raid detail guide featuring BRELSHAZA. BRELSHAZA is a raid where you can enter at item level 1490, and per 2 gates, the item level requirement increases to 1500 and 1520. The raid provides new materials to craft higher base item level relic gears, so it's mandatory to run this raid to improve your gear score. I also want to give out a shout out to Mobalytics for helping me edit this video. They're also providing the written part of this guide, so if you want to check into details or use the cheat sheets, check the link out below in the descriptions. This guide will cover BRELSHAZA Gate 1. Let's get to it right away. Going over the battle items, the first battle item I recommend is Clay Grenade. It has the same stagger amount as a Whirlwind Grenade, as well as an effect to slow down foes. The battle items can be used to slow down the initial wolf monster you will fight in the beginning of the gate. Other battle items like Destruction Bombs and CC battle items like Sleep Bomb is for the Sorrow and Erosion room mechanics, which we'll go over right now. BRELSHAZA Gate 1 has multiple split up rooms. At the start of the raid, you will randomly be partnered up with one other player in the party, 2 players per each 4 rooms. First party will randomly be placed in either Room of Sorrow or Despair. Second party will randomly be placed in either Room of Erosion or Fury. All 4 rooms are mechanically identical. There will be one statue turret in the center with a battle wolf monster accompanying them. These battle wolves have special shields on them that require some mechanics to break them. As for the tower turret in the middle, you'll often see stagger checks or phases where you will need to use your CC skills to cancel their channeling. You can determine what room you're in after the split by utilizing the map key or hitting the turret to identify its name on the monster UI. Going back to utilizing the map though, there will be a workshop after the split, so if you press the map key, the names of the rooms will appear on the map so you can expect your mechanic encounters. For example, 12 o'clock will be Sorrow, 9 o'clock will be Despair, 6 o'clock will be Erosion, and 3 o'clock will be Rage. Let's go over the rooms one by one. 12 o'clock Sorrow room will require destruction points on the Battle Wolf to remove its shield to damage him afterwards. As for the middle tower, it will spawn a purple slowly moving orb to the nearest player upon spawn. If you happen to take this orb, it will cause a map-wide dangerous explosion damage. Make sure to focus on kiting that orb, as well as doing your destruction skills to kill the Battle Wolf. 9 o'clock Despair room requires the players to kill total 25 ads spawned in the room. You can determine how many are left by looking at the Battle Wolf's buff UI. As for the middle tower, it will do a stagger check every so often. If you do that stagger in time, it will cast a map-wide Fierce CC to all players. Make sure to succeed the stagger mechanic every time. 6 o'clock Erosion room will require stagger to remove the Battle Wolf's shield. As for the middle tower, it will cast a long channeling attack. If you fail to CC to cancel its channeling, the vision of all players will start to darken up. This vision debuff can be cleansed, but you must CC the middle tower to stop it from casting the debuff. You can identify it by seeing the ring spin around violently. All CC skills and CC battle items work here. The 3 o'clock Fury room will require a number of hits regardless of damage to remove the wolf's shield. As for the middle tower, it will channel an inevitable damage attack to everyone in the raid. Every time this attack is channeled, the damage inflicted to the players will increase gradually. Staggering the tower itself will reset the stack, but you can only stagger it once. Hence, you'll be able to reset the stack only once throughout the whole fight. The 6/7 times damage is almost guaranteed kill damage. So Pugs in Korea stagger the tower around 4th or 5th stacks to avoid kill damage and have the most amount of time. As for additional notes for all the rooms, the room will also have a checkerboard AoE attack throughout the raid. Red and blue colored platform will damage you, so you will need to stand on a non-colored platform or stand on a white colored platform to receive small damage reduction buff. Since this buff isn't quite significant, just keep an eye on the checkerboard explosion every so often throughout the fight. When all battle wolves are killed in the 4 rooms, 2 walls will go away to have total 2 rooms now. Each parties will be able to group up. First party will fight the boss Gehenna. It holds a hammer. Second party will fight the boss Hellcassus. It holds a bow. You'll need to kill these bosses at the same time, or the 2 parties won't be able to meet up for the next phase. The bosses each have destruction points. You'll be able to do 100% damage if their armor is broken. The armor points are very high for the boss, so if you happen to have an on-item level players in the raid, it is recommended to utilize Esther Thyrain to destroy the boss's armors. The very effective way to use the Sidereal is by lining up the 2 bosses up together to land Thirain on both of them at once to destroy both of their armors. When any of the boss's HP reaches 0, they will be staggered. If the other boss's HP reaches 0 as well, you'll be able to move on to the next phase. If the raid party fails to kill both of the bosses at once, the boss will recover some of its HP back, but the other boss will take additional damage, so it ultimately helps the party if you just keep on killing them. When the bosses are both knocked down, the last wall will go away to create one large room. The bosses will also fuse together to its final form, Gehenna Helcussus. The next major mechanic starts at 85 HP lines. The boss's UI stagger bar will lock up and jump high up in the air and land on the center. Afterwards, a glowing yellow platform will appear on 12 and 6 o'clock positions. When both platforms are stepped on, the 3 and 9 o'clock tiles will appear. When 2 additional players step on the 3 and 9 o'clock platforms, another set of platforms will appear at 12 and 6 again. You'll need to repeat this until each players occupy one yellow platform. If you stand on the yellow platform, you'll receive a Guardian Light Shield buff, which will save you from a kill damage the boss will cast. Since the tiles will multiply up to 8 tiles, after the first 2 initial ones at 6 and 12 o'clock, players will need to stand on their respective tiles for a while until the boss's kill damage attack is finished. Since additional tiles will appear after the previous tiles are stepped on, it is important to stop your DPS and focus on the mechanic to create additional buff tiles quickly. To remove some complexity, Korean pugs tend to utilize the party number ×3 to organize their positions without additional communication. Next mechanic will start at 42 lines. The boss's UI stagger bar will lock up again, jump up high in the air, and land on the center, as usual for almost all raids. Afterwards, 4 total adds will appear on each corners of the map. This ad will spawn a series of additional monsters to hinder the players throughout the fight, so it is important to take care of the ads ASAP. At the same time, the boss in the middle will start a series of counterable attacks. You guys will need to succeed 6 counter attacks in total. If you happen to fail the counter for the 3rd time, it's a guaranteed wipe. Players who succeed the counter will also receive a debuff, where a series of lightning bolts will land on their head. These lightning attacks will damage you and paralyze players, so it is important to position yourself away from the boss so your party mates can land additional counters afterwards. Also, whenever a counter is succeeded, huge cooldown reduction buff will be provided to everyone. It is to help everyone to have their counter skills ready in time. The first counter will always be at 5 o'clock position, but afterwards, he will be consistently spinning around to fake out the players. The hammer boss Gehenna will be attacking, so pay attention to him or utilize the back and head indicator efficiently to determine the next incoming counter. This mechanic will be troublesome for new players because the boss will keep trying to rotate everywhere to confuse all the players. It is important to make sure to recognize a boss to see if he's stopped completely before getting ready to counter. You don't want to be wasting your counter skill by being fooled by the boss's fake movements. The counter timing is different per class due to its animation difference, and some counters being multi-hit counters. Most well-known timing is when the boss lifts up his hammer. If it's anywhere slower than that, the counter is generally failed. From my personal experience, it is better to cast your counter earlier than later. Instead of waiting for the blue effect to be shown, casting your counter right away when you see the hammers being raised has a better chance to succeed than not. If you have succeeded this counter mechanic, there are no more major mechanics after this, so you'll need to watch out the normal patterns only and proceed to fight to clear the gate. Next topic is the sidereal use and normal patterns. I'm going to talk about only the important ones that we should mention. Random tiles. From second phase of fighting Gehenna and Helcussus, there will be a series of tiles that will damage and knock you upwards. There are 3 random tile patterns. Single tile size horizontal or vertical lines going from one side of the map to the other. These waves do not have empty tiles, so you will need to use your spacebar or move away before the tile explodes. We also have a single tile size horizontal or vertical lines going from one side of the map to the other, but these waves have a safe tile, so you can actually stand on one of the safe ones to let the wave pass through you. And lastly, we have a single tile wave coming in zigzag formation. As for this, you can stand right in front of the previous exploding tile since the safe spot alternates like a zigzag. Jump smash. The boss will jump high up and smash his hammer at a random targeted player. Afterwards, a larger radius paralysis explosion will happen. Afterwards, series of explosions will appear under your feet. It has paralysis effects and significant damage amount. It is important for you to consistently move to dodge additional explosions. As for supports, it is good to use your damage reduction buffs at this time. 180 sweep to a wave. The boss will each turn around and do its attack. First, the boss will attack front and back. Arrows will be fired as a cone shape, and spear attacks will generate energy waves. This energy wave from the spear attack has paralysis effect, so if you initially get hit by the first impact, you'll get pushed back and take additional hits. This attack hurts a lot if you take all the wave hits. You may die as well. So you will need to either stand right in front of him, or move sideways, or utilize super armor skills to not take additional combo hits from the energy wave. Spear attack. Gehenna will grab his spear differently and swing. Afterwards he'll stab, then jump high up in the air. When he is initially doing the spear stab attack, there will be laser attacks like Koku's second gate 6-way trumpet attack. The initial stab and the lasers are very dangerous. It is advisable to position yourself either front or back of the boss a little far away so that you don't get hit by the lasers or the initial attack. After the initial combo from the boss, he will jump backwards and throw a spear at a random player. This is an easy dodge, but it does a huge amount of damage, so make sure to save your dodge skills. The spear's impact will also create additional outgoing waves of projectiles that will damage and paralyze you. Showtime. The bosses will grab its weapon and slowly rotate while emitting its energy wave. After the rotation finishes, they will slash afterwards. Safe spot is where the spear is after the rotation, so make sure to position yourself there. The pattern is very easy to dodge, so the damage is very high. It is important to focus on dodging than DPSing at this time. Also throughout the fight, you'll notice some tiles being occupied by electric clouds. If the boss happens to smash this electric field with his hammer, nearest plus pattern tiles will explode, and additional tiles will keep exploding along the path. If this particular electric cloud is left alone for a while, it will turn into a purple tar that does not go away. If you happen to stand on top of this purple tar, even at over 100 eye levels, you'll die in a couple ticks, so you must avoid these dead tiles. To avoid creating additional purple tar tiles, you can stand on top of the electric cloud tiles and receive about 3 minor tick damages. To activate the plus wave on purpose, an initial electric cloud will be removed. Let's talk about Sidereal usage. There are Thyrane, Azena, and Balthor. Thyrane and Balthor is exactly the same, but Azena appears for the first time for the BRELSHAZA raid. Her skill is her self-throwing series of ancient spears around the whole map. The spear attack is a non-target, so she may miss some spears when boss moves around too much, but is initially aimed at any target around the map. Esther Thyrane can be used at phase 2, where the two bosses are separated. A properly aimed Thyrane will apply both destruction and damage to both bosses. It is the most effective way to utilize the Esther at this time. Afterwards, you have different Esther choices. Most parties use their Sidereal at 42 lines. The boss during the 42 line mechanic will have damage reduction applied, so using Esther for damage at this time is not that useful. So if your party is afraid to do the counter mechanic, using Balthor can increase your mistake chance to 3 from 2. If you want to get rid of the 4 summon adds right away to avoid unnecessary confusion, you can use Azena to kill them all. With that being said, this concludes the Gate 1 guide of BRELSHAZA. BRELSHAZA Legion Raid is very long with 6 gates. Since reward points are saved per 2 gates, feel free to take break anytime to avoid unnecessary pressure. As always, thank you everyone, and good luck. Bye!